Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. My name is Michelle McElderry and I'll be your host. Please note that we cannot hear you as you are muted, so if you have any questions, please use the chat window below during the presentation. This presentation will last about 30 minutes, and once it's complete, we will address any questions that were sent during the presentation and have an open Q&A session afterwards. Okay, so let's get started. The theme of this webinar is based on the all-new GSX Monitor Analyzer, version 10.5 for SharePoint. Now I would like to introduce my colleague, Adam. Adam?
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for the introduction. Just want to welcome everybody today from our worldwide audience. Just to let everybody know, like Michelle said, it's an introduction to the new features in GSX Monitor version 10.5, so we won't be able to cover everything today. We'd be focused mainly on the new features in SharePoint monitoring, and please feel free to contact myself or anyone else on our sales team to be able to get a full in-depth demo of everything that we'll show you today. So let me go ahead and share my desktop. We want to cover a couple things before we jump into the demo today. First off, a couple things about GSX real quick. We were founded in 1996. We have a worldwide presence with customers all over the globe. Our main niche is messaging and collaboration monitoring. Like I said, we have many customers around the world. We have approximately about 600, many of which are from the Fortune 500. We've also partnered with many major managed service providers out there. Recently, GSX received an award which we're really excited about. It was from msexchange.org. It was the Gold Award, and this was the highest marks for an agentless monitoring and reporting tool. A couple things to talk about with SharePoint before we get right into the demo here. SharePoint can often be a headache for an administrator to manage in any environment. In many cases, it's business critical, and if it's not working correctly, it causes major issues within your environment. Also, because it's influenced by your end users, and with increased usage, it can lead to major increases in data, disk. It can be very expensive and affect performance on a day-to-day basis if it's not correctly managed. And also, in order to effectively monitor SharePoint, you need to really mimic the end user experience to understand the latency issues that may come up on a day-to-day basis. So a couple things about our tool. We're multi-platform. We can monitor Microsoft Exchange, SharePoint, URLs, Active Directory, BlackBerry, also BlackBerry devices, and then all the Domino platforms. It's an agentless solution, so it allows for very easy deployment. It's very light. Most people say it's like adding a very busy user to your environment. Next, one of the main philosophies within our monitoring tool that sets us apart from a lot of our competition is that we're simulating an end user in your environment. We're connecting like a user would. We're performing several user-level transactions that I'll show you once we get into there. And then, of course, we're going to provide you with a proactive approach of monitoring and alerting. So you're staying ahead of the game. You're seeing these problems come up before your users are calling up and flooding your help desk. Okay, let's hop on to the next slide here. So let me go forward. There we go. So a quick overview of the new features that we have added in 10.5. We've added a SharePoint-specific dashboard. It allows you to use a new auto-discover feature that will go out, find all the SharePoint servers within your farm, make the deployment very quick and easy. We'll also provide you with full-service tracking at the site, server, and farm level. We can now monitor not only just the performance of your SharePoint site, but also the size. And we've added the ability to monitor by role now. So we're not only just monitoring web front-end servers, we can now monitor your SharePoint application and SQL back-end server. So let me go ahead and open up GSX Monitor to talk a little bit about what we've added and show you how the tool works. So first off, this is the new view that we've added for SharePoint specifically. Some of you that are customers out there that have, or if you've seen our tool before, you're probably more familiar with this view that we have out here. This would be our main dashboard, so if you have a multi-platform environment, you can cover and monitor all your servers from one high-level overview from here. Obviously, green is good, red is bad, yellow is telling us that we have exceeded a threshold or there's a warning. If I hop back onto that SharePoint-specific view, it's going to allow you to monitor by role. So first off, you can see the status of your web front-end server from here, also your application server, and then your SQL backend and ContentDB. We're performing tests on those to be able to check and make sure that everything is working correctly within your environment. The auto-discover feature that I spoke about before, what it's doing is it's actually using PowerShell to discover all the architecture within your environment. It's contacting the SharePoint config database to get all the servers, and then it's going to check the critical services to determine if they're a web front end or an app server. If I go back out to the main view here, I'm going to hop on a server that's already configured, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the different tests that we're doing per role, so for the web front end, the app servers and such. And again, I'm sorry if I skim over some stuff here. We're going to focus mainly on the new stuff, so if you do want to see a more in-depth demo, certainly let us know. Let's go right ahead to the web front end. So for the web front end, all of its features are provided through the web services. So with GSX, you can test them very easily to know from a user's perspective how long it's taking to perform this action and if it's working correctly. So for example, how long it takes for us to display a web part or to use a form, maybe how long it takes to copy a document or to access versioning. That's all available to you within here. So depending on what you want to check, you're just going to check off the little box here. It allows you to set a threshold on the time that it takes to perform this test. And like I said before, we're actually performing a user scenario here to know that SharePoint is up and working for your end users. If any of these are down, like I said, you're going to receive an alert. I'll pop onto alerting real quick just to show you guys how that works. So all of our alerting is done through profiles. You can build in as many profiles as you wish for each individual type of test that we're performing. You can have a different alert profile, or maybe you have multiple teams and certain people like to be alerted one way and another team member does not want to be alerted that way. You have the ability to build in this customization within the alerting and really have it set up so that we're not inundating you with alert after alert after alert to the point where you're just ignoring GSX. We want to make it very flexible so that you're getting the correct alerts and then taking action from there. So a couple ways that we can alert. First off is email. We can send out an SMS text. We can launch a third-party program if you put the line of code in here. Play a system sound, pop-up message. We can send an SNMP trap out. So if you have something like SCOM in place right now, we can use this SNMP trap to alert right into SCOM to keep all your alerting centralized. So we do have a management pack for that. Your profile details are over here, and you have a couple more options also to be able to assign a level of severity, build in a reminder, or also automatically escalate this alert right out of this view. Okay, so for the application server role, we're going to give you the ability to have a general alert. If it's up or down, we're obviously going to let you know of that, but really what we're doing here is we're diving in a little bit deeper to test the services. We're performing all of our tests through a PowerShell test here to check on these critical services to make sure that it's delivering the features that are expected. Each time a service is down, you're going to get alerted, of course. Among the multiple services that you should monitor, don't forget to monitor the critical business connectivity data services like the search, also the managed metadata service. You can build in all those from here. It's going to go out, automatically populate all the services on that server, and then you can select which ones you want to monitor. So we've also added, like I said before, the ability to monitor SQL much more in depth. So our previous version had the ability to go out and you can set some thresholds around the elapsed time since the last crawl on the index, or also you can build in a threshold on the number of unsuccessful crawl elements. But what's really cool is what we've added down here. You're going to have the ability to have thresholds built in around your site collection. So you're going to be alerted on any site collection or ContentDB. If the size or number of docs are increasing too fast, it's going to be a proactive alert to avoid any capacity issues. Again, because SharePoint is user-controlled, you want to avoid those issues where capacity or disk or data is just being eaten up by overusage. The other thing to mention here is we're not just going out and pinging the SharePoint config database. We're actually performing a real user simulation on the DB. It's connecting to the SharePoint config, and it's making a SQL request every time we scan, asking for the list of content DBs. Of course, if any of these requests fail, you're going to be alerted. Also, log scanning, I'll go over this quickly. You have the ability to parse the logs if you want to build in a specific keyword or string of characters that you want to be alerted on, you can do that. We'll also provide you with an alert or with a report on that. You can alert on disk space, and then maintenance and categorization are classic features that we have in here that I'm sure most of you have seen before. Next, let me hop on over here to the SharePoint statistic. So what this view is going to give you is a server-by-server view of the live information that's going on within your environment. So if I want to look and quickly have status of my web front-end services that I'm monitoring along with the real-time response time that's available, you have disk information. I'm currently running a demo database, so I don't have any information, unfortunately, on the SQL backend, but you have access to the content DB, the number of site collections, the size. You also have site-specific information in here with the size, number of documents. This is all also, you have the ability to export this to CSV right out of this view. If I go on to graphs here, there's several different graphs that we have built in here, so you can use this as a starting point for troubleshooting. You can validate the end user experience. For this one specifically, it's going to load up server by server the access time of GSX Monitor when we're going out and hitting those servers. So it's going to save the last 3,000 times that we hit the server are going to be saved within this view right here. Why this is great, again, for troubleshooting. If you have a situation where all of a sudden at 3 o'clock someday you have a huge overload in complaints to your help desk saying SharePoint is slow, you can come in here, take a look, find 3 o'clock, see if there's a huge spike in access time, and correlate these data points with what's going on in your environment. For SharePoint Scenarios, this is definitely one of the most unique features that we have within our tool. I would say 90% of the people I talk to, they get really excited about this portion of our tool. This is, again, tying into the idea of how we're performing end-user scenarios and really acting like an end-user within your environment. So for each one of these scenarios here, we're going out and performing that scenario as an end-user. So, for example, here I'm going to go on uploading a document. What you can do is you can designate a site, you can designate a document, and how often you want to perform this test. And what we're doing is we're actually going out, uploading that specified document to the site that you've specified, and you can build in a threshold around this that says if it takes me longer than, let's say, 10 seconds to upload this 3 meg document, send me an alert at that point. If we can't perform the scenario at all, we're also going to alert you. So a great way to keep on top of your end user's experience, a very proactive way to see what's going on within your environment. You have some history down here to see if any tests failed, what time they failed, also if there's a huge spike, and how long it took us to perform that. So again, it's great for finding those latency issues that come up within your environment. Lastly, I spoke a little bit about how we're monitoring the SharePoint sites. We're also monitoring the servers and the farm level. So specifically for the SharePoint site performance, what we're doing here is similarly to the graph section that you saw before. You can see that I have data points for every time that I'm going out and I'm performing this test. What you can do is designate a threshold on the time that it takes for us to go out and hit that site and complete the page load. So a lot of our current customers, what they might use this for is like their VIP sites within their environment. The most critical ones, maybe it's the SharePoint intranet that you have set up and you want to keep a close watch to make sure that it's always performing not only correctly but in a timely manner. We're giving you that ability in here. We're, of course, going to alert you like anything else if it exceeds the access time threshold that you have built in, or if we can't access that site at all, you're going to receive those alerts right out of this view here. So that's going to wrap up GSX Monitor. I know I went pretty fast, so again, if you want to see more in depth, talk about these things, definitely reach out to us after. I do want to touch on GSX Analyzer too today. So what GSX Analyzer is our reporting module. It's included in the licensing with GSX Monitor. It's a web-based tool. It's going to allow you to have multiple logins and credentials where you can see your information. Often it's great to hand out to management if they want a dashboard to be able to see all the historical data or metrics that GSX Monitor pulls. And just to speak about that real quick, what we're doing is around midnight every night, GSX Monitor is going to push out all the metrics from there into GSX Analyzer. So this is not live information. I'm actually looking at what would be yesterday's information from this view here. The only live information that you are going to get are the last 10 alerts, and actually that's available to you also in here. So if I click on Alerts Viewer, you can pull up all the alerts that have come through the system. You have your availability history, you have some gauges on uptime. This is also a customizable view if you want to add certain gauges or metrics within here. Your statistics are available to you. If I hop on the stats page here, what this is going to do is allow you a repository of all the days within your environment that we've been monitoring will be saved within GSX Analyzer. So you can look by role, what's going on within your environment. You have the web front end availability, SQL backend. This is also available for you to send out as a PDF or CSV if you have to report on this type of stuff. Reports, this is going to be, like I spoke about briefly, the SharePoint log reports. So we're going out, parsing those logs for you. We're going to give you the ability to find any keywords that you've chosen within those log files, and then very quickly and easily you can come in here, scan your log files. I know it can be a pretty tedious task for any admin out there, so we make that a lot easier for you. You can also build in alerts around these if you want to be alerted to any of the keywords that show up within your log. Trend reports is really a great tab. What this is going to do for you is two things. You can use this as a on-demand reporting tool. So maybe you have a scenario where your manager comes up to you on a Tuesday and he says, hey, I need our availability history of the last month. Can you please have that report to me by the end of the day? GSX Analyzer makes this really quick and easy for you, so you can hop on here real quick, select the metrics that you need to report on. You can drag and drop. It's going to graph it for you right out of this view right here. We also have a forecasting feature built in here, so what that's going to do is take your last 30 days or 60 days, however many you set up within your report, take those metrics, use a formula that we have built in, and then forecast out up to 31 days into the future where we think you're headed on that specific stat. The other way that this tool can be used is as an automated reporting tool. So another scenario, maybe you have to report on availability history of your SharePoint environment to management the first Monday of every month. What you can do is come in here, you can schedule an automated report to be set up within GSX Analyzer. There's several templates that you can choose that are pre-populated reports, and GSX Analyzer can automatically go out, email this to your manager's inbox from GSX Analyzer. You could also have it set up that it's uploaded to an FTP site, and to give you guys a quick preview of what it looks like, the report is really customizable within the settings. You can drop in your own company logo on this title page, your own title, whatever you want to write on there, and then this is what the report actually looks like when it's sent out as a PDF. So if you do have to do any type of reporting on a monthly basis, yearly basis, whatever it may be for you, this tool makes it very granular and easy to do that within GSX Analyzer. The last tab that I do want to touch on here are the environmental health reports. This can be used two different ways. So if you guys have measured SLAs or specific KPIs that you have to meet on a monthly basis or yearly basis, you can build those in within here and then graphically see how each one of your servers are performing against your SLA. The other way that you can use this is truly as an environmental health report, as it's stated above. You can look at your servers across the board, see if anybody is underperforming compared to other servers. You can look and see if somebody's eating up a lot of disk or capacity. That's all available to you within this view, and again, it can be set up to be sent out to PDF or CSV. So that wraps up GSX Analyzer. Let me hop back out here, and just for a quick recap about our tool. It's a lot to take in, I know, but it's testing your servers at the site, server, and farm level. So we're providing you with not only monitoring tool, but we also have built in, like I just showed you, an effective reporting tool to justify the performance and availability, and you have the ability to measure and track performance against your SLAs. Finally, you want to definitely keep in mind with all of this that SharePoint is definitely a performance-based tool. So a lot of the common problems that come up are performance problems, and to prevent a situation where your user adaptation may be difficult, and if you have latency issues, that's only going to hurt that process and also hurt your overall productivity. That's where we come in with all these user-level scenarios and latency tests that we can perform to really check on what's going on within your environment. Again, not just going out and pinging the servers, we're really diving in a lot deeper than that. So any questions out there? Michelle, I'll let you take over now. Do we have any questions that came in?
Adam?
Yes, we can hear you now.
You can hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, we've received a few questions. Our Microsoft specialist, Arnaud, has joined us. Arnaud, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, everybody.
Okay, great. So here's the first question. How does your alerting system plug in SCOM?
Okay, so we have a management pack. I spoke briefly about it that plugs into SCOM. It's going to allow you to centralize all your alerting into one dashboard. So GSX is actually going to go out, send an SNMP trap directly to the management pack, and then SCOM will consolidate all those statistics and alerts directly within its dashboard and database.
Okay, great. Thanks. The next question is, on average, how long does it take to install GSX Monitor?
Depending on the size of your SharePoint farm, I would say probably about an hour to fully deploy GSX Monitor and Analyzer. From there, it's more about adjusting the sensitivities or the different thresholds that you've got built in within GSX Monitor.
And next, how is GSX Analyzer licensed?
Analyzer specifically is included in the licensing of Monitor because it works with Monitor to collect all the statistics. It can't be licensed separately right now. With the same tool, you can monitor and report within your environment, like we showed you. For SharePoint specifically, though, GSX Monitor Analyzer is licensed per web front end or app server that you wish to monitor, and then only one license is necessary to monitor your complete SQL environment.
Great, thank you. And next we have a question. When you check the web services, is there any impact on the server?
I'd say the impact is fairly minimal. The scenario tests that are using web services to check the several different features, because those are powerful tests, you can't perform those SharePoint scenarios every minute, and by default we have them set up to scan every once an hour. The smallest scan interval for the scenarios is every 5 minutes. One thing I didn't mention also within there too is that after we go out and if we're uploading a document to a site, we're of course automatically deleting that too, so we're not bogging down the size of a specific site that you're testing on.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And our final question is it possible to monitor different servers at different locations?
Yeah, definitely. So the way that GSX Monitor is set up, you have a lot of flexibility within that main view to organize multiple locations, or if you have multiple data centers out there, you can do that. And with it being an agentless tool, you'll have the ability to access the SharePoint servers as long as you have those proper credentials in place. The one thing you should consider, though, is with the latency test that we're doing, it would be much more accurate if you deployed multiple installations of GSX in each data center that you're monitoring. So if you have a location in New York and one in LA, of course you'd want to do cross-country both ways, how long it takes to perform each one of those scenarios. Okay,
great. Thank you, Adam. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for all attending. At this time, an evaluation will pop up in your browser, and we'd like to ask you if you could just take a couple minutes to give us some feedback on this webinar. Thank you again, and have a nice day.